I was like, no, I'm good. And he goes, hey guys, it's Mackenzie. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. Hey, I'm so excited to have you. Today's video is going to be kind of interesting. I have seriously thought about filming this for a while. I almost thought about doing it as one of my very first videos, but then I decided probably wouldn't be the best one to do for that. So I think now is a good time to get this filmed and uploaded, and this is something I haven't really talked to a lot of people about except for like some of my really close friends. So it's going to be interesting me sharing it to all of you guys and then kind of sharing it to the world. So make sure that if you're not subscribed, to subscribe down below and make sure to join the fam. Also, you might want to get comfy for this video because it could be a long one. I'm not really sure. So grab some coffee or some tea or whatever you like and grab a blanket maybe and just get comfy. So this kind of all started a year and a half ago. So it was a year and a half ago, and I'm homeschooled, but I go to a co-op twice a week, and my mom likes to say it's a private school 2 days a week. And so they have fundraisers for us to work. Some of us teenagers, you have to be like over 15 I think, but some of us teenagers to work if we want to kind of like work off our tuition, which I thought was a great idea and I was all pumped for it. I decided to start working these college concession stands. So they were for like basketball and football games at this college where I live. I would like carpool up with some people and I ended up really liking it. I got to work with some of my other friends and so they were all friends from my church and my school. So I knew them all. I was really comfortable working with them and it was nice to kind of experience like what a job would be like, but with your friends. Like I always think that's more fun. So I had worked probably 6 games and they ended up needing me in a stand where they had a kitchen, which was totally fine. They didn't need me to cook or anything, which I honestly think would have been fun, but they had cooks for that and they just needed me on a register. So I was in the stand. They moved me into the one with the kitchen. Something just fell. That's really creepy. They moved me into the stand with the kitchen and I was still in there with some friends, so I still felt comfortable, you know, and I worked the stand one game, and the whole time there was this cook in the back who I didn't really think much of it because, you know, I was a 15-year-old girl, just doing what I was supposed to be doing, you know. And he kind of would like try to start conversations with me, but like I was busy, so I wasn't really like talking back to him or anything. But like maybe I would like nod or like be like, oh yeah, and then I'd just walk away and go do what I needed to do because I didn't have time to mess around with talking to people, you know, especially this like guy who's like 30 something. So that game was like totally fine, like whatever. I didn't think much of it. My sister was in there with me. She didn't think much of it. I didn't really say anything to my mom about it because, you know, I wasn't really concerned about it. Then the next game, they had me in that same stand, which I thought, okay, that's fine. Like, you know, I'd rather work one where I was managing it just because I think I had a little bit more freedom, but I also enjoyed like interacting with the customers a little bit more. But I was totally fine with that. I was like, this is working off my tuition for my school. Wherever you need me, I'm fine. So they put me in the stand again. And this time, I noticed the cook, this one particular cook in the back, let's give him the name Jim. Jim, he was like 30 or maybe a little bit older than that. I couldn't really tell. He wasn't super young, you know. Very tall guy. He was like over 6 foot. He seemed nice, but like maybe if you didn't know him, he could have been like intimidating. I'm not really sure. Like I just didn't really think much of it. I was a 15-year-old girl not paying attention to that. So I just kept working in that stand that night and I was just doing my job, working register, but then at one point they said, hey Mackenzie, we need you to be a runner instead of doing the register because it was a really busy day and they need more runners to like run to where the food is to the kitchen and then run back with it and give it to the customers, which I was like, okay, cool. So this was still in a stand with my friends and I was like, okay, yeah, I'll go do that. So I run back to the kitchen and I noticed that every single time I would run back to the kitchen area, which, okay, so the way this was set up is, let me set my coffee down. The way this was set up was you have like here is like the window where the customers like order their food and the registers and all that. And then you have like this aisle of like pretzels and popcorn and like chips and drinks and all that. But then there's like this wall with like a window in it. And behind that window is the kitchen. So you can actually go behind that wall to get to the kitchen. So I was sometimes having to do that. But like you could see into the kitchen from where the registers were. So it wasn't like a big deal or anything. It wasn't like you were like going back there with a bunch of people you didn't know and nobody else could see you. My camera's kind of shaky. So I noticed every single time I would run back to the kitchen to grab food, this guy was kind of just starting, like, he was trying to start more conversation with me every time. He was like, what's your name? How old are you? Like, ask me weird questions. And I was like, kind of just, I don't know. I probably shouldn't have told him how old I was. I was like, yeah, I'm 15. But then I walked away. Like, I wasn't, like, flirting. I was not, I don't know. I wasn't, like, really engaging. I just was trying to, like, probably now that I think back, I probably just wouldn't have answered him at all. But, like, he'd be like, how old are you? I was like, 15. I'd walk away. Like, I don't know. I was busy. I wasn't really thinking about this. And I wasn't really thinking that a 30-year-old man would be trying to be a creepo, you know. At one point, he's like, hey, he asked a group of us. So this wasn't as weird. This was, like, a little bit more normal. I also didn't think anything of this either. I don't think any of us did. Everybody else thought he was a really cool guy, and up until this night, I did too. Honestly, I just didn't really, like, I don't know, I didn't talk to him, so I didn't really know. I couldn't really judge him. He's like, hey, can we make you burgers? Or, because, like, technically, we didn't know this, but we weren't supposed to have burgers. We were only, if we were working, we could have hot dogs and any of, like, the snacks, but we couldn't have burgers. Yeah, sure, we'll take a burger. He was like, okay, do you guys want bacon on it? There were, like, a group of 4 of us that he was asking, and some were guys, so, like, we didn't think it was weird. And we're like, yeah, bacon on anything, like, it makes it better, yeah. So he made us burgers and fries, they were great burgers, by the way, just gonna say. But then I noticed him, like, even more, like, trying to engage with me, trying to be like, hey, will you come back here to do this? Hey, will you come back to the kitchen to grab this? And I was like, no, like, I'm busy. Like, I was trying to ignore him, and, like, I should have probably said something to someone, like one of the dads that I was with that I knew, but I didn't say anything at this point because I wasn't really thinking about it. I really didn't think that I'd have to, like, worry about that when I'm trying to do a fundraiser for my school tuition. Like, that wasn't something that crossed my mind. The end of the night comes, you know, he's been trying to, like, talk to me all night, kind of weird, and the way things worked at that, this college game, we had to take off our uniforms. We were wearing khakis, polo shirts, aprons, and, like, visors, so, like, not looking good, but whatever. We owned our pants, and then we owned, like, whatever shirt we were wearing underneath it. So we go to grab all of our other clothes from the back, which was, like, actually behind the kitchen. So there was the register area, there was the kitchen, and then there was where we kept our stuff in the very, very back. And when I went back there, I went back with a group of my friends. There were a bunch of us. There was even a dad. We went back to go grab our stuff to take it to the bathroom to change. So I guess somehow, I'm not really sure to this day how it happened, but it did unfortunately happen. Somehow I was left back there by myself. They grabbed their stuff and they left, and I was grabbing my stuff and I was leaving, but somehow I was back there last. And at this point, I thought nobody else was in the kitchen. So, like, when I realized that nobody was with me, I was like, oh, that's okay. I'm just gonna hurry up and, like, get out there and go to the bathroom and change. But I come out of the kitchen, and the cook is right there. And I was like, this is kind of weird. Like, I wasn't saying anything. I was just, like, trying to look down, and, like, I was, like, looking down, just, like, trying to walk forward, because, like, I didn't really want to talk to him. Like, at this point, I had been getting some weird vibes, but, like, he hadn't done anything, like, that serious, so I wasn't really that concerned. I was still like, okay, I'm just gonna get out of here just in case. So I'm looking down, walking straight forward, trying to, like, maneuver my way through, because it's a very, like, tight area to get back to where the registers are so that you can get out of the stand to go to the bathrooms. I'm walking towards the, like, small hallway. It's, like, really, really thin hallway, like, only fits, like, one person to get to where the registers are. And this dude cuts me off. He swings his body around me and blocks me so I cannot get past him to where the registers are. I was like, like trying to like, you know, like that awkwardness when you like maybe run into somebody in the grocery store and you're like trying to move around each other. That's what I was doing, but I was trying to get away from him and he was trying to get towards me. At this point, we're like less than a foot away from each other. Like I was getting some weird vibes at this point. I still didn't know what was going on because I'm alone. I'm 15. And this kind of thing had never happened to me before, so I didn't really know what to do. I'm trying to like get past him, and all of a sudden he pulls something out of his pocket, and I'm like, what is this dude doing? Like, I'm just trying to get away from him. Like, my heart's beating really fast. Like, I don't know what's going on. And he hands me something, or he tries to hand me something that looked, what I thought was a piece of trash. Like, I just thought it was trash. It was like a brown piece of paper, kind of looked like a brown paper bag, but like a piece of it, you know? So, one second. I have not had my coffee today, so that's my first cup of coffee, and I'm dead. So he tries to hand it to me, and I'm like, oh, the trash can's over there, thinking he was gonna walk away from me so I could get through, you know? But he didn't. Big shocker, right? He didn't. So he goes, no, shh, take it. And I was like, excuse me? Like, this was all going very fast, but like to me it was in slow motion because it was really, really scary. I was like, excuse me? And he goes, no, call me sometime. I was like, no, I'm good. And he goes, no, take it, just don't tell anybody. I was like, excuse me? I didn't say this, but I was like, excuse me, sir? Are you really doing this? Because even if you were my age, you're not my type. I'm not gonna, no. I'm not gonna hit you up. Ugh. No. You're like 5,000 years old. Ew, gross. No, I'm literally, ew, get away from me. So he's like, no, just take it. And I'm like trying to shove my way past this dude. And he's like, no. Or he goes, just take it. I'm like, no, like I'm really good. Trying to get through. And he just is standing there. And I was scared that he was gonna like grab me and like push me back into the back closet because I didn't, like, it was a really small area. He was really close to me and there was nobody else there. I literally just had to shove past him, like literally push him out of the way to get past him because he would not leave me alone. And I ran. I just ran to where my friends were. And at this point, because they had left without me and they had gone to the bathrooms without me and I was back there trying to get away from this dude, they were already done changing. Luckily, I was going home with my pastor, like all of his family, and then the other pastor's son from my church. This was the associate's pastor's family and him, and then my lead pastor's son was there. So like I knew all them, like I'm really, really good friends with all of them, so I knew that if I went and like just stayed with them, I would feel safe. So I ran to them. Like at this point, I wasn't even changed yet. I just ran to them and I could barely talk. I ran up to one of the daughters who's like 2 years older than me and I just like hugged her so tightly because I was so scared. I was like, well, the cook back there, like he just like blocked me in a corner and I couldn't get away from him, and he tried to give me his number and like he was trying to like get me to talk to him, and I was really scared of what he was going to do next and blah, 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 blah. And so we told her dad, and her dad, I love her dad. He like ran and like he couldn't find the cook at this point. I think that's what he was like originally going to do, was find the cook so he could like talk to him, but then he ended up going to the manager, which I think was a good idea. So he went to the manager and was like, hey, this is what happened, like I'm taking this teen girl home and one of your cooks just tried to do this. So, and then the group I was with, they're like, hey, are you okay? Like, I was like, yeah, I'm fine. It was just really scary. The rest of the night, before we had actually left, we had to like turn in our stuff and then we had to park. It was a good like 5-7 minute walk away from where we were working. So, and it was really late at night. It was like 11 or 12 at night. So it was really late. But when we were walking back to the car, guess who was right behind us? Mr. Jim, the cook. Yeah, really creepy. So the dad was like, hey, there were 2 teen boys, one of the pastor's kids and then his kid. So he was like, hey, you stand behind her and you stand in front of her, that way, like, you know, which was like, now that I think back about it, like I would not have wanted to be with anybody else when it happened because I really did feel safe and they really made me feel safe after this all happened. So they were walking behind me and he was walking in front of me, and that way like everybody could kind of like make sure I was like not getting stolen, or like he wasn't trying to approach me again, which luckily he didn't. So we just walked back to the car, and then we ended up getting home, and I just ran to my mom, and I was like, Mom, like, okay, like, don't freak out about this, but I need to tell you this, like, nothing actually happened, but this is what he, like, tried to do. And she immediately called the manager. She was mad. Like, she was like, I trusted that I could send my daughter there to work off her tuition, and this happened. Like, manager was like, hey, yeah, this is not the first time that this guy has done something like this. He's actually done this multiple times, and we're going to fire him now. So we thought he was fired, and we're like, okay, now I can go back, because I was not planning on going back to another game if I knew he was going to be there. But the manager said that he had fired him, so we went back. Surprisingly, I went back, and this cook was not fired. He was still there, and I'm pretty sure he still is there. But I, luckily this time, was not on the same even floor as him, so I did feel a bit more safe, but at the same time I was kind of disappointed in the way that they handled everything when they told me they fired him, and then I felt safe enough to go back, and then I realized they didn't fire him. I have not been back since that, because I have decided that, you know, I'm just not going to put myself in that kind of situation again, because that was a really scary situation. I didn't want to put myself in a situation where something else worse could happen. I'm really, really lucky that nothing else happened, but if you or someone you know has gone through some sort of abuse or harassment, please, please let someone know, a trusted adult in your life, whether it's a parent or just someone maybe from your church or your community that you trust. Please let them know, because that is a really serious thing, and the people that are doing this need to be stopped. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. I know it was really kind of a more serious video today, but I really hope you guys enjoyed it, and that you'll join me back next time for a new video. Remember, I have videos out on Fridays and Saturdays, so just make sure to subscribe and click the bell notification down below so that you can get a notification every time I post. I'll see you guys later. Bye.